secrecy, broken trust, controversies. The PGA Tour is under fire yet again, this time for its hypocrisy, pointing out the double standards surrounding the tour's involvement with the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund amid other questionable business decisions before the merger. Fowler's exposé leaves a lot to reflect on. Get ready to have a different look at everyone's favorite tour. It is no longer news that the stunning announcement concerning the unprecedented merger between the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund sent shockwaves across the golf community. Initially, it felt like a great moment for golf. The civil war between arguably two of the biggest organizations in golf had finally ended, with both factions and the sport itself finally getting a long-due calmness. You wouldn't be crazy to think the peace merger was a cause for an epic celebration. The war is over! Or so we thought. As expected, every stakeholder in the sport, from fans to players and even executives, seemed to have an opinion of it. While some were in support, others were not. Before we take a look into Rickie Fowler's statements, we have to take a deep dive into what transpired between both factions to truly understand the double standard he's pointing out for us. And to do so, we have to take a short trip back in time when it all began. Ladies and gents, ever since the Professional Golfers Association came to life, it has been the de facto association of mainstream golf. Now enter LIV Golf, the new kid on the block. Backed by the never-ending resources of the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, the circuit was fast developing a rival league featuring team play, 54-hole events, and significantly juicier rewards for its players. We are talking 9-figure sums to lure top stars like Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson from the PGA. At last, things soon took a turn for the worse. Just as quickly as it emerged, the circuit was heavily criticized for its ties to Saudi Arabia. As you're probably already aware, the nation has an infamous history of being in the news for its human rights records, including women, people of the LGBT community, and more. The aforementioned issues raised questions about the morality of LIV Golf being financially backed by the nation. To many, the sport should be taking a stand against such harsh practices instead of dining at the same table and getting financially favored. Many PGA golfers like Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy vehemently oppose the breakaway circuit, with others, including several fans, feeling disappointed at those who defected to it. Could Rickie be as adamantly opposed as the two PGA superstars? When the merger announcement broke out, all hell was let loose. There was a downpour of frustrated fans and players who condemned the development, not just because of its secretive manner, but also because of the perceived moral issues of Saudi's Public Investment Fund. As discussions echoed across the golfing world, Rickie's impending comments about double standards seemed poised to cast a piercing light on the situation, potentially unraveling layers of complexity that many had yet to fully grasp. At the end of the day, fans wouldn't care about the monetary sponsorships the PGA would enjoy from Saudi Arabia, or the fact the tour would have access to a large audience in the Middle East and Asia. Want to hear something crazy? The PGA Tour was also responsible for the bad image LIV Golf had in the eyes of the public. A year ago, PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan was like a caped crusader fighting against the rebels. His description of the breakaway circuit is still fresh in our memory. It's an irrational threat, one not concerned with the return on investment or true growth of the game, he said. In a nutshell, the PGA Tour put on the persona of being this ethical, morally upright association all about human rights and the freedom it brings. It acted like the supposed hero on the front line, Earth's last defense against the abuses, limitations, and sports-washing perception of Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. Jay Monahan declared his disappointment for PGA golfers who defected to the breakaway circuit, questioning their moral compass. He said, "It probably is an issue for players that chose to go and take that money, and I think you'd have to be living under a rock to not know that there are significant implications. officials. His words were as clear as day. The riches of LIV's benefactors are dirty. The pure-hearted should have nothing to do with it. But now, the PGA Tour would be on the payroll from that same sewer? Where's the logic in that? Phil Mickelson, arguably LIV Golf's most popular member, was once ripped by his former colleagues at the PGA Tour for being a greedy opportunist who didn't hesitate to take the juicy incentives offered by Saudi Arabia without considering its questionable history. Make no mistake, the tour's hypocrisy hasn't gone unnoticed. When Jay Monahan met with tour players at the FedEx St. Jude Championship, Rickie Fowler was among the 25 players in attendance. He must have been unimpressed, and why wouldn't he? Fowler acknowledged that the PGA LIV merger isn't even the first time the tour has been involved in shady investments. Apart from the recent association with Saudi Arabia, the PGA has done business with China, a nation that also has a questionable reputation. I've been pretty open through the process of not necessarily being against PIF or Saudi Arabia in any way or where the money comes from. No one is clean or perfect. The tour has been in business with China for years. Not saying it's right to do something with PIF or Saudi Arabia or not. And that, guys, is a significant double standard. Like Saudi Arabia, China also has an infamous human rights record. Several human rights groups have publicized human rights issues in mainland China, like the one-child policy, forced labor, limitations to freedom of expression, and even capital punishment. Yet, the PGA Tour and China have rubbed hands several times and made deals together. In the past, the PGA Tour was criticized for covering up China's human rights abuses by partnering with them on several high-profile golf events. Given that the PGA Tour has and still partners with a nation like China, which is of similar standing to Saudi Arabia, why was it so critical for LIV Golf to act similarly? Shouldn't birds of the same feather flock together? Both sides are now on the same team, but you get the gist. Apart from Fowler, other prominent golf enthusiasts have called the PGA Tour out for its double standards. Dan Shepard, owner of Dan Shepard Public Relations, was particularly disgusted. The hypocrisy of filing a countersuit against the LIV and having the commissioner pound the proverbial table while objecting vehemently to Saudis using the game for sports washing, then merging with LIV, is sickening. Everyone grab a front row seat and watch as the tour fires up its crisis communications PR team to start flinging the poo to obfuscate against the harsh judgments to come and significant brand diminishment. Len Shapiro, former golf writer for the Washington Post, did not mince his words either. Regarding the PGA Tour's decision to merge with the LIV circuit, he bluntly stated, "You have joined forces with an organization that is funded by blood money, pure and simple." The silver lining, if we can all take it as one, is that Jay Monahan is no fool. He understands the gravity of the situation and has even admitted that he accepts the criticisms and allegations of hypocrisy latched onto his name. I recognize that people are going to call me a hypocrite. Anytime I said anything, I said it with the information that I had at that moment, and I said it based on someone that's trying to compete for the PGA Tour and our players. I accept those criticisms, but circumstances do change. In line with this, Fowler disclosed Monahan initiated the meeting to have an open dialogue and discuss the allied entities set to commence after the current season ends. Additionally, he recognized that Monahan believed the tour could have handled the merger talks much better, possibly by being more transparent instead of keeping golfers in the dark. Right now, the PGA Tour is taking a lot of heat from stakeholders, and rightfully so. It could have done better in many areas, but thankfully, it has taken the first step to seek forgiveness by acknowledging its shortcomings. At this juncture, we would love to hear your thoughts about Fowler's exposé. Are you disappointed in the PGA Tour for being so vehemently against LIV when it was, in fact, guilty of the same sin? Let us know in the comments. See you there. If the content had you hooked, don't miss the chance to drive that like button down the fairway, swing a powerful subscribe shot, and put your thoughts in the comments section.